Guys, good morning. Today we will have a very interesting conversation with one of the legendary persons on the real estate market in Dubai, who is in the market for more than 20 years, something like that. And he's the leader of a very famous company who we can say is focusing on the Chinese market. And right now there are a lot of questions about Chinese investors. Because since January China is open and there is we cannot find a better person to have this conversation rather than Nazish. And Nazish, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. To start, can you please introduce yourself to our audience from your career perspective?
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Nazish. I've started my brokerage career in Dubai since 2000, very start of 2004.
2004.
2004, so 19 years down.
Freehold was introduced in 2002.
2001.
2001.
2001. It was actually announced officially. My father is one of the first investors to buy a property in Imar, Greens. We still have that apartment. And it's been a long journey, and that's how I actually started my career in real estate, of course. And yes, 2018, it was Fidu properties. So I had worked with past all the nationalities in the past 19 years, primarily also Russians, and back in 2007, majorly Kazakhstan clients. They were amazing. They would talk less and pay more, make decisions really fast. Yes, and I think so. We worked a lot with a lot of nationalities, a lot of great investors that came into Dubai. Saudis, Qataris, there was a good phase. UK was a big market back in the days. However, China, never. And 2 years prior to Fidu, I was done. I was like, I'll just manage portfolios of some of the high net worth individuals, and it's much more better. But Fidu happened, and China was an untapped, absolute virgin territories for Dubai markets. So this was a new beginning altogether. It was a very fascinating journey. I was very excited. When I was called in, I would have taken a job as a broker in Fidu Properties back then. I was so ready for even just to explore the Chinese market. I've never touched that. It was great.
Well, I remember when Fidu came to the market, you guys had these Rolls Royces on the streets, and like we were, wow, what is this? But before we go to the company, it's rare when you can sit with somebody who's here on the market since 2004. So you have seen a lot. You have seen ups and downs. So in your opinion, if we compare like this last 2 years, is it something similar to what was happening in 2007, or 2007 was more active? There were like crazy transactions and stuff.
I would say 2007 was more crazy. Way more crazy.
Way more crazy.
Yes, extremely high. I mean, we have seen buildings in Sports City and Silicon Oasis, and selling at the price of 2,200 dirhams per square feet, which is the markets which we don't even see yet in Dubai Marina in the secondary market yet. I mean, it's just reaching that point, and we were just selling brochures right and left. There were like nothing even starting with construction. RERA was not in place in terms of regulations, strict regulations. People would buy plots, put a 10% deposit, and the next day you would see on the Gulf News a big article with an image of the building saying that we are launching a building. And that time the model was something like this. If you pay 100%, you get 30% discount. So there's a selling price, and if you put down 100%, so a lot of people would actually get tempted with that offer, and they would actually cash in. I mean, they would just come and pay 100% to a developer, who's not even bought the land on 100% yet. So he's just bought it and paid 20%. He's just got the first agreement in place, and then he launches a building. And there were many developers back in the days, which this was a model. Great journeys. I have great stories too. Great stories. Maybe I think today's session is more on China, but I can always have another session of going back to the old memories. It's beautiful. There are very few brokers left from that time who's still running the show today. And whenever we meet, we have great chats. I mean,
for sure, yeah.
Like Street of Dreams was the place where Emaar had first advertised their mock-up villas. So we had Springs, Meadows, and Hatan villas, and every broker would bring in a client of Dubai, showing that villa to sell any other properties in Dubai. So this was a core model. So there was this, and it was named Street of Dreams. Literally,
I heard about it.
Yes, it was an amazing feeling. I still remember, I have very strong memories of walking into those villas, mesmerizing the clients by showing the finishes and how beautiful. Even a 4M villa, actually there was a 4E villa of Springs, which was a mock-up villa was there, and it was so beautiful. It was really nice. And that there was a great phase of Al-Barari where we were taking into the mock-up of Al-Barari villas. They had an office in Jumeirah because there was nothing back there. I mean, like Dubai land, that's what we used to call for Barari. It was just desert, absolute desert, where those time big projects were launched. City of Arabia, Tanmiat, Falcon City. It's a lot, Dennis. It's a lot. I can keep going on.
Yeah, I still want to touch it a little bit because I'm really curious to have your point on this.
Yes.
What would be your advice? Like you mentioned that some of the agents are still in the game, some of them are not. Definitely, a lot of agents made a lot of money back then.
Yes.
Some of them maybe lost it. Some of them didn't. What, in your opinion, were some of the mistakes of the agents back then when it comes to their career, to their financial planning and stuff?
I can't talk about the agent's mistake. I can talk about me as an agent, my mistakes.
Let's go through it.
We were 26 years old, group of guys, friends, 27, 26, because this was 2006. And it was easy money. We saw money at a very early stage in our life. Commissions, on an average, every month, 150, 200,000 was normal for a lot of brokers. People were flaunting their money. Brokers were flaunting their money. We actually got into investments ourselves. So there was a whole model of... So what it used to happen is, like, if it's a great property, a great launch by a good developer, we would go book units and in 3 months flip it. So we would pay 10%, and in 3 to 4 months there will be a premium, 5% more or 10% more. We have sold tokens on standing in the queues to in many of the projects, especially Arabian Ranches launches by Emaar, Arabian Ranches 1. We brokers would make money out of tokens, out of commissions. Top-ups was a joke. We would so make a client buy. He would not have 100% funds for that specific property. Let's say it's a 3 million dirham unit. We would make him buy for, let's say, paying 10%, 300,000. We would say, okay, we'll get you 10% premium in 3 months. We will try to resell it. And it was always possible. It was very easy. There was always another investor who wants to buy, because it used to be sold out in just a day, like how it's happening now. But now there's a trend of EOIs. We never had the system of EOIs. We were just like old school, absolutely old school. So brokers made a lot of money on just top-ups, and it was very transparent. The clients would know that we are pocketing 3-4% as long as they're getting their 10 or 7 or 8% into their pocket. So the journey was very easy money, and we over-invested into the markets. A lot of brokers like me. I went into Abu Dhabi. There was a lot of great opportunities. Off-plan properties was selling at 45% premium. 45% premium. So there was a property, I don't want to name them. I got a studio, for example, for 2.2 million. That's how expensive. Studio in Rima Island. That building is still not standing, by the way. And and the premium that we were getting on that was 55%.
Jeez.
That's how crazy in a period of less than 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can hold, so what people did, we didn't have the money for the whole 100% payment, but we had great payment plans. That time even payment plans were 20/80, as good as 20/80 payment plan. 20 till construction, 80 on the handover.
Mm-hmm.
So we would just jump in because 20% is not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We would jump in and within 9 months sell it with 40% premium, 30% premium. It was very easy to do it at that point of time. But when the crisis hit, we were already stuck with a lot of stock which we have paid for.
Mm.
And some of the developers back in the days surprisingly used to take checks, post-dated checks for all your installments.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to book units, you used to pay post-dated PDCs. So a lot of people, a lot of investors also got stuck because the developer would deposit the check at the given
And
date.
it got bounced. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they would get bounced. So there were also discount schemes if you give PDCs.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was no law as such that you should not or you should. So as I told you, there were not regulatory bodies to control these kind of behaviors by the developers.
Mm-hmm.
Agreements were made in-house. So if you want your agreement to be strong, you go and get it notarized in the notary public. And that's how the agreements back in, there was no Ukud. There was no such document. So we used to go and get it notarized, and then the document used to be valid,
Mm-hmm.
the agreements. But still, when cases were filed against those development companies, nothing could happen. The developers were already left the country. Yeah, but it was a great year.
So, based on what you just said, that one of the mistake was that you, with your colleagues, you invested a lot in the real estate. So, based on this lesson, is it a good idea for agents to invest money in the real estate, or is it better to diversify the funds?
It's an amazing opportunity now. Now, eyes closed. There is the government supporting, there's RERA supporting, backing you up. Your money is going to escrow accounts. You're secured. I mean, worst case scenarios, there could be delays in the projects, which will happen because right now there are less of construction companies and more of project launches.
Mm-hmm.
Development companies are not able to, construction companies are not able to keep up with the demand right now. So we are going into that phase. I've seen this phase. I've seen small construction companies growing bigger. So the first thing they go and take a credit from the banks, and they invest into more manpower. Labor camps prices go high, construction material prices are going high. This happened exactly in 2008, and I know a lot of good investors sitting in the central jail for a very long time, just because they went and took a lot of loans from the banks to expand their construction companies,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a huge demand from the development companies to constructions. So right now, as we speak, there's a lot of projects that technically will be delayed, unfortunately, because the investors and the brokers, they don't see behind the scenes this picture. Do we have enough construction companies in Dubai to construct the number of developments? Yes, and the answer is no. Any developer would be able to answer this, but this is not an exposed information. Hence, there will be delays. There are great developers who have in-house construction companies. That is going to make a difference, because they are confined to they give priority to their projects.
Mm-hmm.
They have the funding, the sales are great, so the revenues are coming in, and then they can deploy those amounts for their developments. They have a construction arm. Shobha is primarily one of the biggest in terms to who's doing
delivering projects ahead of time.
Wonders. Hats off to them. There is Azizi, with all said and done, whatever people think of the negative notions. Yes, it's a business. There are ups and downs. But behind the scenes, they have a huge strength.
Mm-hmm.
Financially very sound. They have multiple projects. So I think there is a lot of good opportunities for brokers to invest into properties. And
you think they should do it?
They
because
should.
There is like
They should.
If you listen to your story, that you guys were making a lot of money on the
Yes,
transaction, and
yes,
you still
yes.
keep the money in the industry.
Yes.
So, you just were not lucky that regulations were not there. Yeah, this was the better. You know what I see right now? For example, my colleagues, there are some guys who came to the market like 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. They made good money. They are okay to buy now properties. It's not like it was after 2010, and then not so many people made tons of money. Yeah, now people are making a lot of money. And I see that they are over optimistic about the market and like, oh yeah, I need to buy this, that. It will keep on growing. Like, bro, relax. Are you sure you will be able to keep on making same amount of money as you made last year? Like we had like records over there. So yeah, like I think sometimes it's better for the agents to put some money on somewhere else in other industries. But
with all honesty, I would see. This is an absolute replica of what had happened, but just in a better way. I've seen this phase. I've not seen in the last since 2008. I've never seen a market like this.
Yeah.
Even in 15, it was not like this.
No. Yeah.
This is a beautiful, beautiful market right now, and I hope and I pray that continues. Let the developers they need to just be more regulated. However, the brokers should take real good advantage of this. The price point which we're seeing right now in some of the sectors are still underpriced, way underpriced. So if Marina Shobha is launching at 4,200 dirhams per square feet, that is double than what the secondary market was serving just at the same point of time. So going into those secondary markets, tapping onto those units, which has a potential, if the buildings are in good quality, good standards, the apartments have large size, closed kitchens or semi-closed kitchens, because now everyone has stopped making that. So if a broker is really smart and he takes he has got a good credit and he takes a good mortgage and buys an apartment to live in, and maybe one on the side as an investment, a townhouse, for example, it is a good opportunity. You will make ROIs. I mean, like, you will be preaching exactly what you're doing. You tell an investor, take a townhouse, this is the ROI. Use it for yourself. We saw a big market in 2008 where a lot of clients were actually brokers. It was a surprising period of time. A lot of developers. So back in the days, brokers had no respect whatsoever. Today, as Fidu, we have a lot of acknowledgement and a lot of respect because we are investors ourselves. However, developers still look at brokers in a very certain specific way. You're as good as you bring in clients and making revenue for the developer. But are you the client? Yes. This is the phase, because this past 1.5 year, I've seen some brokers become millionaires right now in Dubai.
Yeah.
And those guys could be the future clients. So go and stand and get those better deals. You will get better discounts from the developer because you've got a track record with them. So you might get privileges and take advantage of that, because the clients can't get what you can get as a broker. So I would highly recommend brokers to stop flaunting and going into the show world of spending money into artificial luxury things and rather than that, invest. This is a good time. Invest. Hold on to your money. Don't spend it on stupid stuff. I did that. I went and bought fancy stuff and fancy lifestyle.
Don't you think that your fancy lifestyle was supporting the idea that you're a successful agent and it helped you to close more deals?
Yes, of course. I have a brilliant agent who just joined us 6 months back. 5 months down, he's buying a McLaren. And he's flaunting it, and it's adding to his profile. He's showing his success story. I'm very proud of him. We all are. I mean, I've not seen anybody lock deals like this guy does. I've been in this industry too long, but I am hands down surprised to see one of my brokers who does not speak English Russian, Armenian, and is locking deals. In 5 months, he's already crossed 70 transactions with 50.
In 5 months, 70 transactions.
70 transactions. And that's what. I don't talk about agents who close 2 transactions and become millionaires. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great deal. I've done transactions worth 800 million dirhams in one go. Does that make me a great broker? No, I'm sorry. That is just one transaction.
Mm-hmm.
I have very high regards and respect for brokers who are consistently, month by month, increasing, in fact, the number of transactions, irrespective of what's the value of the transaction. You are a great broker if you're clocking transactions day after day, day after day, day after day. And I'm surprised, really, Dennis. I have this lovely guy who's locking deals like it's no tomorrow. And he's blessed. Only just because rubles went down for few days, he was upset because people backed out. So he had a pipeline of, so he had a target, 6 months, 100 transactions, and then we will announce it in the whole Dubai media and all.
Mm. So in this case, for him, purchasing McLaren was a good purchase?
Yes, definitely yes. You need to pamper yourself. You need to pamper yourself. Take care of yourself. Make yourself happy. You earned it. This is what you've earned. You deserve it. You deserve the respect. You deserve an acknowledgement. You need to take care of yourself. Love yourself. Always put yourself first.
Yeah.
You're good. You're happy. Believe me, you'll perform the next day better. While driving in that McLaren to office, he's already charged up that today I'm going to kill it.
True.
Yeah, so I think yes, everyone deserves to spoil, but don't be stupid. Don't spend on other people to show off how good you are. You don't need to pretend. Be real. This guy's real. He's doing something for him, for his family. He's putting a booking deposit for a 3-bedroom apartment into an off-plan project. Taking my advice, I said, bravo, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
May I ask you about your deal for 800 million, you said? Jesus, what was that?
This was in 2008.
2008?
2008.
It was before or after the...
Before.
Mm-hmm.
Early, absolute early of 2008. It was an Indian client.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to name him, but he's the richest Indian then.
Mm-hmm.
Registered in Dubai.
How did you get him as a client?
Cold calls.
No way.
Yes, cold calls. I
reached him directly or to the some secretary and then...
No. I reached him directly because a gentleman, my uncle used to work in his company,
mm-hmm.
and he's a very well-known person, and
mm-hmm.
he is a big investor of Dubai. His portfolio is huge. I used to be a broker who I used to actually target I used to find a target that I need to work on this person. It's not the product.
Oh, wow. I Such a good approach. Yeah, not the property, the client.
No, I never worked on the property. I always worked on the client.
Mm-hmm.
I used to create, I used to study. I used to study them. Who are they? When was he born? When did he come to Dubai? What is his journey? Study. Because when these high-profile individuals, you meet them, you get an opportunity to meet them, you speak a little bit about them, and they like it. You make them feel great. I was a good salesperson, I could say, back in the days. So I used to only target high net worth individuals. That's why I used to make very big transactions with these people while I was pretty young at that point of time. And with all honesty, this deal was so sweet. The bigger the deals, the easier it is. I've sold 1 bedrooms, I've sold 2 bedrooms, and it's more difficult. People take more time to make those decisions. So there was.
Can we come back to this point? How you approached him? So you have his number. Did you call him?
Okay,
Did you message him?
So I'll tell you the exact story. There was a launch of a project called Burj Al Alam. Okay, you might have never heard of this. 2007, there was a launch called Burj Al Alam, the tallest commercial tower of Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Select Group has bought the plot right now in Business Bay, which has, what's the project called? I can't recall.
Edge?
No, not Edge. There are multiple buildings. I don't know. It's one. The Select Group has acquired this plot of land. It was on litigation for many years because Burj Al Alam, the tallest commercial tower of Dubai, was launched over there. The Palace Hotel was the launch venue. I had his number all the time. I had been studying his profile. So I actually called him while I was in Dubai. He's an Abu Dhabi based person. So I called him and I go like, hello sir, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually calling you to give you a VIP invite. It would be a privilege. It would be a pleasure to have you. I made it look like he's having a special invitation to this event. And I said, sir, we will send you a car in. He's like, no, my dear, thank you. He's a very humble, very polite. So when you're calling a person for an invitation on a very high level invitation, where you address it as at the Palace Hotel, so they feel that, okay, this is something valuable. So that was my pitch. I had him come at the venue.
You sent him the car?
No, he did not accept it. He came himself. But he told me, can you keep it low profile, because he's always been a chief guest and you know, he's a celebrity kind of a person.
Okay.
He said, let's keep it low profile. I said, sir, I've taken care of all those aspects. Nobody knows about it. It's a very private invite for you. Closed door, pre-launch information. It was not a pre-launch. It was not a closed door. But I brought him there. But when he landed up over there, people did come, greet him. He was sitting right on the front table because of he is somebody. The whole Abu Dhabi knows him.
Yes.
The royalties know him. So automatically he was placed onto the front seat. And when the building was launched, those launches were crazy. It's not like now. Now nobody's still launching of that caliber. The way they used to spend money, the developers, on the launches was crazy. So there was this building launch called Burj Al Alam. And I go like, sir, I just whispered, I was sitting right. So I said, I've already blocked, because this is going to be sold out. I've already blocked 2 floors for you. And I know you like this floor because this is the same number which he was in the existing office. It was 32 and 33. So I told him I blocked 32 and 33 floor for you already, because I think this is the numbers you like, because this is your success story, isn't it? Because
Jesus.
I had read about, so he's a numbers person. So he told that his first office was here. So I've read that article. So that helped me speak about this. He looked at me and his smile is like, smart, and he liked it. And funny enough, he goes like, come tomorrow morning to collect the check. He didn't even ask me the price point. It was sold at 32 million a floor, so that was very expensive. A 16,000 square feet floor was sold at 32 million. That building never happened. That construction
it's
never
maybe
took
one
off.
of the best sales deal that I heard. Amazing approach. You were prepared.
Yes.
You took a step.
Yes.
You studied the client. You come up
Yes.
with the numbers.
Yes.
You took a risk. Incredible.
It was amazing. I went the next morning at 7:30. So many offices open at 7:30, like, you know, even private offices, like a government, banks, all this immigration office, they're all open at actually 7. So I went at actually 7:30 the next morning. And I showed him like a lot of conversation about his life. He was very impressed, and he says, you will be officially my broker, to a point where we will be sharing a lot of information about the investments we are thinking of doing.
Wow.
Please bring it on. So that was my gateway to entering. And when I went to his office, he's a very generous person. He every morning has a couple of people reaching out to his office for charity. He owns a hospital in Dubai, so a lot of people come for medical reasons, for waiving off. They can't afford to pay, and he was a very generous person, and he would do that. And I sat there waiting for him while he came out, and he addressed every individual sitting in that room. Imagine a billionaire walks out of his office, there's a waiting area, and he comes and says, yes, how can I help you? What's your problem? And then he would have his assistant, the accounts, okay, waive off. Give him discount, give him that, give him this. And people would cry. And so I just saw that. I was very mesmerized. I said, but when he called me inside his cabin, because we had to discuss the turn, it was a different person. He was a shrewd businessman. All of a sudden, he switched. Yeah. And that was like, whoa. So I got to learn a lot how these people of this caliber they roll, the way they make decisions. It's fast. They make real fast decisions. They need to like you. They need to trust everything that you say. You give them numbers. You give them some math. You give them some returns on investment. Show them some proofs. Do some math and right in front of them. They like you. He liked me. He told me, go ahead. Couple of months from there, I got a call one day. He says, I have a friend from Belgium. He's a diamond merchant, Indian origin, but he's from Belgium. I go like, okay. And he's got like, we have a huge portfolio that we need to structure an investment. What do you think? What could you propose? I said, what is it worth? He says, up to $1 billion. And I just hang up and I started making my inquiries related to developers who's about to launch a project, because that means the permissions are put in place, the launch dates are put in place, the layouts, floor plans are put in place. So I needed something like that, and I believed in that time we had never seen a negative history of plans. So I said, okay, let's jump into the this. It was in Abu Dhabi. The name of the project. It's 5 Pioneers. Okay, you might have not heard of it.
No.
These two projects never took off. Again, cancelled. And
he invested there 800.
20% of it.
Yeah.
20% of it. The commissions were, skyrocketing.
I can imagine.
I do have some really great stories related to transactions, and this was very inspiring. So.
Can you tell me how did your relationship with your client change after the crisis? So
it didn't change.
They blame
it collapsed.
You,
yes.
They blame you on like some decisions that were made. You couldn't manage to separate yourself from the economic global crisis.
No, I was very much a part of it. I have a gate pass to the Dubai Central Jail. I used to visit my clients regularly. I have a lot of clients who got stuck. I have a lot of clients who flew out. I was managing some of the portfolios. It was the worst time. If I open my phone book and I show you, you will see at least 30 lawyers on my phone, from the big top lawyers of Dubai, because from 2008 till 2012, we were just fighting. There are people who've got more than 800 cases on one individual, one name. Because he's a developer, he's sold units, and the construction never took place. So those people have filed cases. So each case, you have penalties and you have a lot of issues. And these people had a lot of assets in Dubai. All assets were frozen. Families were distorted. It was not a good time. It was a horrible time. And I've seen billionaires, literally, Dennis, billionaires, such strong individuals, begging for some kind of support. And the only support that could be extended to them were by brokers. Brokers who had sold them these properties, brokers who knew another client who could actually buy off their properties at a distressed deals. So this was a great journey. And that's how there was another company that was formed based on these models, Silver Heights. So I was a sales manager in a company called Silver Heights. We were the biggest underwriters. So we would go to land department, check out the cancelled projects, and then we would try to reach out to those developers who are not in the country, most of them, and buy out their rights of the property, solve the people they've sold those units to, and those resell those. So we did 13 good projects in 2014, 13, 14, and 15. So that is another big game that I was a part of, where we were reaching. So land department was brokering the transactions, more or less, you can say that. So it was a good phase again, amazing phase of Dubai real estate, which I got to learn. A lot of projects, we revived them. We brought in investors. Those investors are developers today. So we used to have a small group of people sitting in a room and making decisions. Okay, you put 5 million, I'll put. But my part was to go bring in the project, cancel projects, projects which are standing, and they're just standing out there. So a lot in Dubai Silicon Oasis, a lot. So there were many companies could not continue with the construction, and they're up for cancellation. But till now, if you can see in Dubai Silicon Oasis, you'll see the two tallest towers. It's called the Dona Tower.
Yeah. One of them with balconies, another one without.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have bought, sold at 2 times. and guess what? Do you know what was the first price per square feet it was sold at? Can you take a guess when it was launched? Take a guess.
When it was launched?
2006.
Well, I assume 2000, something like this.
2,200 dirhams per square feet.
Crazy, yeah.
In Dubai Silicon Oasis. And those apartments are really tiny. And we were negotiating it for 400 dirham per square feet from the original developer. But it is almost impossible to revive that project because the issues are so huge. People have put in so much money into that. And to pay them back and call it, make it more resellable, it's not possible.
So it's just stuck there.
It's stuck there. It won't.
Do you know what happened with Dubai Pearl, by the way? A lot of people invested there as well. Now they demolish it. So what was the government decided to do
Dubai
with
Pearl was
the investors? You have an idea?
Yes. They had a head office in Wafi, and these investors again, and crisis went bankrupt. I mean, they did not want to continue because there was no future. So the projects were stalled. I brought in investors for that project back in the days. It was offered at 800 million to acquire as it is with the land, and it had the valuation much more than that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But because of multiple owners being a part of that, and some of them also had cases and all, they could not liquidate this. So this project actually had to get cancelled. There were many developers, there were many people, many investors who wanted to revive this project. I had brought in 2 myself, bid it for 800 million, and it could not go through because of legal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Too many cases on that project. 3 towers.
Bro, it's so interesting to discuss with you this thing that happened before. Let's move slowly to our main topic.
Yes, I think
we announced it. Who knew that we can discuss so many things from 2007?
We can have a session where I can give you some really inspiring stories for brokers to really look upon for today's, because this is what I teach my brokers, and I'm more than happy to extend that message to a lot of them. Do's and don'ts. Just maybe talk a little bit about the history. It's so much fun. It's people don't know. It's nice to know your DNA of Dubai real estate. People, who are the mentors, what kind of transactions happen, stories, how come 24-year-old girl making 20 million dirhams in commission. This was all numbers, real numbers.
20 million.
I've issued 12.6 million dirhams check to a broker who just referred a client. I was working as a developer person. So there are many stories. There are many amazing, amazing stories, which is very inspiring.
And you have as well experience as a developer.
Yes, I've worked as a developer too. I've sold, I don't want to name the project, but I've sold 75% of that project. And that's how Azizi was born. Investments. I mean, so I also brought in Mr. Azizi, Mirwais Azizi. I have very high regards, amazing gentleman. He came down into Dubai in 2006. I'm his first line of contact as a broker. Sold a lot, so it started, the journey of Azizi Investment started over there.
Incredible.
What to do? Let's buy more. And I was like, no, Mr. Azizi, why do you want to buy a developer's product or underwrite? Why don't you open your own development company? He's like, really? What is it?
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I was shadowing him in the starting process of what to acquire, which plots to acquire, blah, blah, blah. So Furjan was the first acquisition of plots.
Yeah, I remember they had their first projects.
Yes, Yasmin and Feiruz, I think, yeah. So, like, even the floor plan we were setting, he's a one-man show, Mr. Azizi. Very strong guy, one-man show. I was sitting in his cabin in AP Tower, and the first floor plan was put out, and it was like really large-size units. I go like, Mr. Azizi, what are you doing? They're like, 2-bedroom is 1,600, 1-bedroom is 1,100. I said, no, you're losing out space. I mean, like, the ticket size will become too expensive. Let's reduce the size. And then he was very upset with the architect, and he calls him in, like, what is this nonsense, blah, blah, blah. I remember the good small stories, and this is how it started. They took the first office in Monarch Tower, which is today called the H Hotel. This was in 2007.
They still have their office?
In Monarch? No, H
in
Hotel.
H Hotel.
I don't think so. No.
No? Oh,
No,
but
no.
still on Strixite Road somewhere.
Yes,
there.
yes, yeah. The API Tower.
Oh, yeah.
And now Conrad.
Mhm.
Conrad, they have the office. But yeah, I mean, it all started there.
Yeah,
So
so
these are one of the biggest investors, by the way. So as I told you, I used to only work with high net worth individuals and then manage their portfolio. So the starting portfolio, I was very much involved in making him buy something and then underwriting it and then reselling it for him.
Mhm.
And I got him profits of 100% in 3 months. Yes, 100%.
Incredible.
Yeah, so that's another great story I can always share.
How did you end up in Fidu?
How did I end up in Fidu? So word of mouth. These Chinese investors came into Dubai. So they bought a lot of properties in Emaar. So the only name was Emaar Properties that they understood. And they transacted a huge investment portfolio with Emaar Properties.
We're talking which year?
2018.
18. Mhm.
Yes. So 2018, and then we were suggested to acquire to set up a real estate company. Like you, as a Chinese investor, comes in and invests so much into Dubai. There's a huge market out there. Why don't you bring in more? So Emaar themselves said, we will support you extensively. Now you are an investor. Why don't you open a license? And you have so much muscles. Like, and I was recommended to them.
By Emaar.
Some names, some people, yeah. And then they told, okay, let us set it up. And my first funny question was, because I've seen a lot, like big investors come in, show a lot of money. I said, I'd like to see how much money you have. And the investor goes like, what? You're challenging my capacity. I said, listen, many people come, they have money for 6 months to run a real estate company. I'm not in it. There's a lot of investment that would require to bring up a very high profile company. So I said, look, we have this kind of a portfolio. I was mesmerized. I was like, in that market, nobody was even close to investing that kind of money. Nobody, the whole Dubai, I don't know anybody. And I go like, yes, I'd like to be a part of it. And I structured everything. So the best office is, we don't rent anything. So Emaar Square is where Fidu Properties head office is. We bought it. Expensive, the most expensive. It's actually more expensive than Burj Khalifa, buying in Emaar Square. So we have 8 super luxury cars. At that point of time, acquired like Rolls Royces, Phantoms and Ghosts. We deployed a budget of 25 million dirhams to marketing on the first year of 2018. Just marketing budgets. So Dubai airports, Dubai metro station, Dubai taxis were all wrapped and covered with Fidu Properties. And then, so basically I always wanted to be a brand and not just myself as a broker, just talking about ourselves. I wanted to create a corporate company. The fundamentals was, so back in the days in 2007 and 8, always I'll go back to that. So there were only 2 companies which were corporate companies. Rest, everything was boutique brokerage. It was about a person who's running the brokerage company. The company did not matter. The name did not matter. The name of the person mattered. But there were 2 companies, Estico and Better Homes. These were corporate real estate agencies, which if you put your business card as a Better Homes in front of the client, you are a qualified broker. You are trusted. This was my objective, to create a company which would be seen as a branded company, and the brokers would take advantage because the trust factor would be earned because of the name of the company. And the Fidu Properties model was purely about building the brand first, putting it out there so that people can trust. And we are not the people to tell you as brokers, this is what you need to buy, or just give you a product or attach you with any developer. No. My first year's model was only to work with Emaar and only Emaar. We declined to work with any development company in Dubai. No. We did not work with them. We only worked with Emaar. And we also invested into Emaar, our money. So when a client comes in, we always say that we have our investments locked in over here with all our expertise. You should have least doubts about making these decisions. We are not just brokers
Makes sense,
to tell you what to buy. We are also buying alongside with you. So we have done all the due diligence. You can just follow our lead. And that actually worked very well. So we were very confined to a very specific team in EMAR, and we put all our eggs into one basket. In the first year, we were ranking number 4 in EMAR. It's also because we put all our energy and efforts into. So the brokerage started with this model. My idea was only to focus on one. The second year, 2019, we added District 1, and we were the top agency of District 1, not announced. I didn't want to make it vocal. We did huge number of sales. There were great people. The best team I've worked with was the District 1 team. Mr. Gurpal,
The project is incredible as well.
Wow. We again bought ourselves. So the biggest official mention of District 1 also belongs to us. It's owned by us. We had a great journey. District 1 was my favorite place, my best playground, because it had great values, great protocols, agents not fighting. The company was defending the rights of the agents if the clients walk in directly. And if there is a direct client and, people, all the bad business, wrong businesses were not actually happening in District 1. Very ethical, because the people behind the scenes were very old brokers themselves, people with a good history of Dubai real estate. So, yes, I enjoyed. And this is the only second company that we added to our portfolios where we invested and we promoted, vice versa.
If we're talking about Chinese buyers, it seems like not all of them are looking towards Dubai. As you said, it's an untapped market for them. Why do you think it's so?
China is very big, brother. Very, very big. I've flown down to 6 different cities in China, did a lot of roadshows. 2018, every month, on an average, 1 week, I was in China. Every second month, I'm in China doing a roadshow, inviting hundreds of, and we were spending money like water, just trying to attract. So the whole model was promoting Dubai, not promoting Emaar or Shoba or Damak or anything. We were promoting Dubai, and we were very close with Emaar officers and the Emaar team back in China. It was a great journey. It was a great experience. I was so excited. My first time going into China was an LPS exhibition in 2018, where I thought it was a great property exhibition like Cityscape used to be back in the days. But it was a big disappointment. People would come, people would see, but people would not talk. Luckily, to my blessing, there was Miraz, there was Shoba, there were many other developers. Aldar was there in a very big stand. We had taken a normal, of course, it was a decent stand, but we were only promoting Emaar. And I took the model of Burj Khalifa, for God's sake. I mean, I didn't take a model of something else. I took a model of Burj Khalifa. Luckily, I had all Chinese employees on my stand, and all the other exhibitors had Dubai brokers come to exhibit, like Indians and Europeans and things like that. That does not work in China. Chinese clients would not, because they are very introverts. They are not going to come and have a conversation with you because they don't speak the language. The first thing, they don't speak the language. The second thing, they like to talk and deal with people of their time. So luckily we had a lot of Chinese brokers, and it was a wow. I mean, at least we had a lot of attention, a lot of conversation. And that's the time I learned. On the third day of the exhibition, I got really frustrated because no closings, no expression of interest, not even expression of interest. People come, talk, inquire, walk away. I said, what are we doing wrong? And I am a pure salesperson. I cannot go empty hand.
Yes.
I have to. We had a lot of pipeline with the owners of Lamborghini Group in China, the owners of different, so we have a big network, and we already reached out for the coming days we'll have. But the third day, do you know what I did, Dennis? I took 3 of my good-looking brokers, Chinese brokers, very presentable, who has a good knowledge, and I told them we'll do it in the Dubai way. This is what I've done back in the days. We will poach clients in the best area of Shanghai. They're like, what are you talking about? I said, let's go into the mall. Let's go to the fashion avenue of Dubai Mall, and you will see a lot of rich clients walking out of Prada, walking out of Louis Vuitton, carrying bags. I'm a street broker when it comes to that. So I took my guys and I go like, you know what? Let's go into this mall. The third day of the exhibition, I took 3 of the guys, went into this mall. This is a mall in Shanghai which only has high brands. There's no second range brand, like only big brands. And I walked in there and I saw such rich Chinese people. And I'm like, well, okay, this is it. This is the playground. Maybe I should take a stand over here, blah, blah, blah. We stood in a queue because every showroom, every shop had a queue outside. We would stand in a queue and I would say, pick up a conversation. You stand in this queue. I told one broker, stand in a queue to Louis Vuitton. You stand and pick up a conversation with the person in front of you and back of you. You have 2 clients right now, front and back. Just, hi, I'm from Dubai. How is it going? Here's the brochure. Why don't you visit us at the exhibition? We are exhibiting. We have come for an exhibition. We're going to be here for 3 days. Let's chat. Do you know what happened? My people got pushed physically. They were pushed physically because people don't like this kind of an approach. You cannot put up a property stand like how we did in Mall of the Emirates or Dubai Mall. We did stands and I'm a specialist with stands. But everything that I know of my 17, 18 years of experience in brokerage came down to 0 when it came to China market. 0. I was nothing. I was nobody. And it was so challenging, very frustrating. I did everything in my power to acquire some sales, some attention. And then week after week, day after day, I started learning because I started living in their communities. I started living with these brokers. We went up to 50 plus brokers in Fidu properties, Chinese. I'm doing the recruitments. I went to China especially to do recruitments. JLL, big companies in China with experienced brokers. I brought them down into Dubai. And that's when the ball started rolling in a different way because they know how to deal with their people. Chinese clients are not easy. There's a big difference, Chinese clients in China versus Chinese clients in US, Chinese clients from London. They're very different.
So for me, as an agent, let's say if I would like to participate in upcoming wave, let's say if it's coming, is there any chance for me to do some business with the Chinese investors or not really?
In the last 1 month, I have a lot of developers coming up to my office, meeting me just to ask, I heard the Chinese markets are opening. We are planning something. Nazish, we need your help. Could you tell us how to go about with it? And it's a very simple thing. As a broker, as a developer, there are few rules. The first thing and the most important thing, get your payment gateway sorted. If you don't have a payment gateway, you will not be able to transact with them. Chinese investor, he has the money, but he does not know how to bring the money into this country. You'll be surprised, just knowledgeable information. A Chinese individual in China, no matter how rich you are, has a limit of $50,000 per year on his credit card to spend internationally. You cannot spend more than that. So back in the days, how did we sell? One family would make credit cards on every individual in the house and everyone would swipe their credit cards with $50,000 to book an apartment 10%. But what about the further payments? So we saw a huge process of cancellations after clients paying 10%. So you might strike a deal. You might be very excited and you might celebrate. I celebrated selling 3 buildings in District 1 for 170 million combiningly. What happened? Cancelled. The client paid 10%. We got first half of the commission because that was the agreement with District 1. Second payment never came. The client had money? Yes, the client had money. Client could not transfer. Client tried many things. And we as Fidu Properties, we do not engage in any kind of transfers or anything. We just give you the account details of the developer. It's your baby. So that was a failing point for a lot of our transactions where we could not create a payment gateway. And if a developer or a broker wants to go out there, the first thing you need to know is find a way. They won't trust you, say, hey, listen, why don't you buy cryptos and then, we transfer and blah, blah, blah. they don't do that so easily. Cryptos was not really big into the Chinese investors who are investing in Dubai. So, yeah, it is extremely challenging. Plus, second, commissions has to be extremely high. You cannot work with even 5 or 6% commissions in China because we were actually attracting sub-brokers. So we went there as master brokers from Emaar, where we had a huge network of more than 200 brokers in Shanghai itself. Then I had almost 100 brokers in Shenzhen. Then I had almost 100 brokers in Beijing. These are different cities, each cities with millions of investors out there. All of them had only one common issue, no matter which city you go to. 6%? No ways. Not going to work for that. That time Emaar was offering 6%. We were further offering it to the agencies. But that's not enough for them.
Now it's 2.5.
Yeah, forget about it. Now you cannot even talk about Emaar in China because they will not, unless the investor directly wants to buy. But the brokerage system does not work.
How much is the commission in China?
China goes up to 20%.
Up to 20%. Crazy.
So basically, a lot of people in the brokers, these brokers that we know, they switch to promoting Thailand properties in Cambodia, because agency commissions is 18-20% in these countries. Thailand developers are offering 20% commissions to Chinese brokers. Why would that Chinese broker promote Dubai and these properties?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, yeah.
It does not. So it was a very, very challenging situation. Plus, the clients also enjoy, they're very smart. It's a culture in China that they know the agents are making this much commission, and they say, you need to share it with us.
Oh, so it's...
That is that's another major challenge when it comes to Chinese clients. It is not that easy. I've done that. As I told you, we have done maximum number of transactions. Like most of the Creek Harbor was sold by us with Chinese buyers. And how was that achievable? Because every month I was doing roadshows in China, like expanding my connections. So we have it all, but because of COVID, everything went on a standstill. Now the markets are open, and yet we have not seen them come in. But the first quarter, just to educate you on this front, the first quarter only with Emaar, the Chinese are on the number 3.
Oh, already?
Yeah, the Russians are number 1. Number 2 is Indians, and number 3 is Chinese. So they are coming back. They are transacting.
But I think it will be difficult to attract, clients through the referral partners. Like we are doing business as well with agents from other countries. But I hope that just investors without agents will come here, because it seems like Singapore is closed for them right now.
Yeah.
You heard that they increased the stamp duty to 60%.
I'm flying next week. I have an exhibition, a roadshow first in Singapore. Then I'm flying to China. Straight from there, retapping all our network. So Fidu Properties has our presences in Singapore in a big way. We have big investments in Singapore. So the same group. So we are a holding company. So we are Chinese, and we have investments in Singapore. So actually, it was primarily in Hong Kong, but after China, like Hong Kong merged into China, all the business model, a lot of people from the Hong Kong city moved and re-established themselves in Singapore. It's a financial hub. And so I'm heading to Singapore. Yes, 60% is for foreigners. It's called stamp duty, which we use transfer fee, DLD 4%. So that's the biggest model that we're going with. And but still,
Canada is closed as well for them.
Yeah. Plus 30%. 30% is for residents of Singaporeans. So Singaporeans are 3: Indians, Malaysians, and Chinese.
So is it something that you think will attract more Chinese clients?
Yes. Dubai is very attractive. The only problem for all of these Chinese is how to bring in the money.
How do they bring it to Singapore?
Singapore still has a very, very strong financial connections with China, and so many of those Chinese investors, they prefer investing into Singapore because there's a huge Chinese community. So you need to also understand Chinese are also going where their communities are.
And there is big community in Dubai, or?
The Dubai does not have a very huge community. No, there is a community, but not as huge as what we have in Singapore.
Mhm.
They have a very big community. In Toronto, it's like they completely bought off Toronto,
Yeah.
probably.
Vancouver or something?
Yeah, so they go in they go in groups. But that has started. For example, last week I brought in 100 Chinese clients into Shoba at one time in a period of 2 hours. We just brought a huge Chinese Americans into Shoba, and it became like a talk. Like, what happened? Who are these people? All of a sudden, the Shoba sales centers were flooded with Chinese investors. And these are Chinese Americans, all age 60 and above. Power of making decisions. Their money is in America. They are better Chinese clients than the Chinese clients in China.
Mhm.
So out there to any brokers, if this is like you really want to tap this market, there are a lot of strong Chinese which is actually outside China, which could be more lucrative.
But based on my experience, investors from US are not that easy to deal with because they are spoiled with leverage. All of them want mortgages. Like if I get a client from States, I know he will ask, "Oh, is it possible to get a mortgage for this property?" I'm like, you need to pay cash here. There is a payment plan and stuff.
Very true, Dennis. But we didn't come across that because there is a category of these clients which even coming from USA, but they're Chinese. Chinese are business people. They have a lot of fortune. They have got huge funds, and they don't know how to deploy it. They do know, but the avenues are very limited.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely know that these Americans, like already inquiries are flooding in. Nobody's talking about because they're 65 plus, so many of them. So mortgage and loans is not even an option for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not talking on that, and it's much cheaper compared to where they come from. So they know the markets of Hong Kong, they know the markets of Singapore, they know the markets of Toronto, they know the markets of New York, they know the markets of London. They think Dubai is so cheap. For them, Dubai is really peanuts.
Is there anything that you see that Chinese investors are looking for? Like, for example, if we are talking about investors from Russia, it's very important to be on the first line next to the beach. Is there something that you see as a common request from Chinese investors?
Chinese investors, they don't like beachfront properties.
Oh, amazing.
No, I'm not joking. Okay, so I'll tell you my experience. So there was a phase when we were bringing in a lot of Chinese with buses literally coming in.
I saw these buses.
Yeah. So they would only want anything and around Dubai Mall, downtown. They only understand the language of Dubai Mall, Burj Khalifa. It was so difficult for us, and there's not many off-plan projects launching in downtown, but we did manage to sell them. Believe it or not, I convinced them to bring them till City Walk. Imagine, till City Walk. Because that time, La Mer, City Walk, there was a lot of launches coming up. There was a lot of availability. And I thought I'll mesmerize them by taking them to La Mer, show them City Walk, something ready, something. They would stand, they will look, then they have a very poker face, so they will look and they'll like, They will point out to Burj Khalifa and say, that's where we want it. Funny enough, because Burj Khalifa has, what is the biggest name, is Emaar. I took all that energy into Creek Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
So, if all the brokers have the databases of Creek Harbor, they will see us as Fidu Properties and a lot of Chinese names on those databases because we managed to sell Creek Harbor. So Creek Harbor is one of the top favorites of Chinese clients.
What makes it so special for them?
It's the infrastructure, it's the upcoming, it's the new city. This is how we were talking about it. We made them believe that this is the next downtown. It is. It's a combination of Dubai Marina and downtown. I said, you like downtown? Nothing is available. Let's go to the next downtown. This is the next downtown. They love towers. They love high-rise buildings. For example, Dubai Hills also we tried, failed. Dubai Hills is not a favorite for the Chinese because they're not high-rise.
Okay.
They love
skyscrapers.
Skyscrapers, new, They have a taste. They have a very specific taste. And Greek Harbor has been super successful for us when it comes to Chinese clients. Like, this is where we sold the most. Then, very high and luxury segment, it was District 1. We sold a lot of villas to Chinese clients, and those were proper big investors.
Mm-hmm.
They're buying 10 units, 20 units, full building. That's a different model. But an end user, a normal Chinese one apartment buyer investor, Greek Harbor does an amazing job with them. Marina, Palm Jumeirah, hate it. I've had big clients who wants to buy a mansion. I showed him 3 signature villas, very high end, but because it's a beach, it's the water, they don't like it. They don't go for tanning. They don't. They don't like the sun. They generally don't like the sun. So this beach, the Russians' mentality is all about the beach life, while the Chinese, it's the opposite. They want the city, skyscrapers, tall towers.
What are the expectations in terms of the investment and the returns? Like, from what do they get, for example, in China from rental return? And
I'll tell you one more law. A Chinese individual can only buy one property in China, no matter how rich you are.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're from Shanghai, you can't buy in Beijing. You need to be in Beijing for minimum 5 years, get the community approval that you are a resident of this, you have a job here, or you have a business here, then maybe you would be allowed to buy in Beijing. So there are so much restrictions that encourages them to come out to places like us.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest selling point is actually their own infrastructure, their own system, which limits them from exposing their investments or doing big investments. So this is one of the major reasons also why Chinese are coming into Dubai. And for them, even a little bit of a return on investment, they're fine, they're content with it. Because nowhere else in the world they're getting returns like Dubai. It's just that the trust factor is still yet to be bridged. Chinese, which came in, it's a like 0.00001% that we brought in. The biggest issue they have is money transfers, because a lot of Chinese have never been out. They're very, very confined in their communities. The world is completely different in China. I mean, it's very challenging for any expatriates. I mean, anyone from any part of the other world to go into China and to communicate with them.
So on credit card it's 50,000, but bank transfer is as well, limits as well?
Yes. And you can't do bank transfers internationally so easily. You can't just say, like, I'm buying a property in Dubai and you'll transfer $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of money in the banks. Everyone has clean, good money, because there's no other way around in China. But then you can't buy these things. That's why they're billionaires. There's thousands of Jack Ma's in China which are not announced, which nobody knows of, but they're very confined within China. They're super billionaires. I've met some really wealthy, rich people, but they're limited. They can't do much with it.
How do you communicate with them? Through the translator?
Yes, I always have my PA. He's Chinese. I can't travel without him to China. It's impossible to move around in China without him.
But what is your overall take on nearest future? Will this 0.00001 become 0.008 in the nearest future, yes, or we should not count on this?
I'm pretty confident. That's why I'm even taking starting the homework for entering into the Chinese markets. Yes, they will be here. But if the broker community thinks that they're going to make money, the answer is no. They will not make a lot of money with these clients. The developers are really going to flourish if these investors are going to come in. They are amazing investors. They're one of the best I've seen. Great. If they like you, if they trust you, they bring in a lot. It's not about one-time transaction. It's not about one transaction. They connect with you well. They like your development. They believe in your product. You're blessed. So much can come in. And it's word of mouth. They speak out. The problem is in China, you can't do marketing. You can't do nothing. You can't promote. We wanted to put up an office to make it a sales center. Even Imar opened an office, but it was just a promotional office. You cannot sell. You can only promote. You can just show, but you can't sell. You can't do booking forms. You can't receive money over there. But yes, Dubai is a talk of the town for the Chinese, now that it's opened up, we will be seeing a lot this year or the next year. Even if the Russian markets have to slow down a little bit, Chinese market is too huge, my friend. Dennis, it's unbelievable.
Why are you saying that agents will not benefit out of it? Let's say if I'll have an APA who speaks Chinese, I'm still will not be able to get
agents have to really up their game. Whatever the way they deal with other clients is not dealing with the Chinese clients. It's extremely challenging. They will in the start they will make you fight with other brokers. The same inquiries will flood with 3 brokers. You will think he's only with you.
Difficult clients.
Yeah, they will think he's with you, but no, believe it or not, he's not. On the second or the third transaction, maybe he'll be with you because you've earned his trust. They ask, a lot of Chinese clients had asked for kickbacks, which damaged the broker's whole profiling and generating revenue. And this was another very big challenge which we faced in the past. There are a way around it. There is a way around it. If they like you, they will be nice. So yes, you can't outsmart them. They're very smart. You can't just give them a brochure or tell them this is the great price and not. They will just say yes, okay. You will feel that you win them, but they're going to have that inquire with 10 other brokers. It is a thing with them. You will think that Khalas, tomorrow he's bringing in a check. Believe me, he will even issue a check with 3 different brokers for the same thing, and then he'll pull back.
Maybe we will benefit from selling our stock on the secondary market to the Chinese clients, or they're more focused on the off-plan side?
No, secondary market also is something wow for the Chinese, but it's we are doing it as of now. We are promoting. We have a huge stock with us. Overall, the portfolio with Fidu is more than 500 units across, only with Emaar.
500 units?
Yes.
Owned by Fidu?
Owned by Fidu. We have 235 units in Dubai Creek Harbor. We have 230 again units in the Grand, all fountain views, facing the fountain, and high-profile units. And we are just waiting for the handovers. Then we will make decisions. Shall we rent
it or rent it? Yeah.
Creek Harbor, we've decided to start leasing them out. So rentals are going on. So
why you made such a decision? You expect the price to go higher there?
Our investments is they're very rich. They don't care about about selling and making money. They want a steady ROI, and they're happy with that.
Got it.
So the rental markets are doing well. So also we could put it on rental, and the ROIs will show 10, 12% or something, and resell them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes some of the buyers, they enjoy buying a unit which is already showing a revenue.
Yeah. So, Nazish, thank you so much for your time today. It was super interesting for me. It's always a pleasure to speak with somebody who is on the market for a long time, and I love to hear these stories from the past. And thank you for sharing your experience with the Chinese market. I understood that a few things that it's better to focus on my own directions.
I think everyone should give it a shot. It's an amazing world. It's an amazing try. Try it. Yeah. Try it. Maybe you could teach me something after trying. I tried
Actually, I had to deal with the Chinese market, with the Chinese investor in Creek Harbor, by the way, as well. It went well. We had issues with the transfer. We sorted, but it wasn't like such big amount. So I can say that I had.
Bravo! No, they people, once they've come in and they've understood the markets and they've understood how things work, they get better. They're nice. Yeah. But trust me, and I'm telling you this with a lot of experience, if they like you, you're going to hit jackpots. The channels and the resources one Chinese client has is unbelievable. They have a huge chain behind them. So they will be bringing back to back. So be always nice. They're very nice to you, but they're very scared of foreigners at the first go. They feel that, okay, you might cheat them or something. But if you earn their trust, you got the game going.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll practice this. And I want to say personal thank you from me for sharing your stories with the higher profile clients. as well. Very, very inspiring story.
Thank you.
And guys, I hope you took a lot of good insights out of this conversation. I hope you shared some stories. I forgot to mention it in the middle of the podcast. Thank you for being with us, and Nazish, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, Dennis, for having me. And I wish the whole community, all the brokers, love you guys. Great job going on, and I wish you all the best.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.